You got the audio?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. If you would please stand for the pledge to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you would please remain standing just for a brief moment to acknowledge those that we have lost across the seas, and also in remembrance of Louise Cantwell. Thank you. I'd like to welcome everyone to Town Hall. I'd like to thank the town board for allowing us to use the facility tonight. We just remembered a very dear person to many people in the room that know Louise. She was awesome, great smile. I talked to a few people. I personally, I don't feel that just mentioning their name here at a meeting is enough, particularly for someone like Louise, like Mary Therese, these people that made an impression on so many people in the community, Max Basie. So I've talked to them. The very least we can do is we will honor them and celebrate their life by putting the flag in Memorial Park at half-staff, specifically a day for each person, and let people know that that is their day, so that when they do pass by, they can remember these people that made a huge impact on us. We will be given a public hearing for the local law to increase the fines from vehicle traffic code violations, resolution, and the adoption of the local law. Any questions from the board before we begin? No? I am looking for a resolution.
Open your public hearing.
What's that? Oh, we have to open up public hearing. Do I have a motion to open up the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Second by Charlie Murphy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is now open. I just, yeah. Thank you.
I have a question,
Yes.
if it's appropriate.
Sure.
I was out of town, so I'm unfamiliar. We're raising the fees to increase revenue, is that
We're
correct?
raising the traffic ticket, the fee on the traffic tickets, yes.
For parking or?
Parking, just parking tickets.
Okay, the reason I ask is, it seems as though every other time I go to park downtown, the meter's broken. And if we're raising the fees, I think we either need to fix the meters or not find people who need to park, and the library's full, and the only meters that are open are broken.
I agree. And we are actually in the middle of looking to get a person to service the meters on a much more regular basis. We actually, that is part of our upcoming agenda. And that is a very good point. I've seen that on a regular. If the meter is broken, you are not responsible if you do get a ticket by accident by the police. Thank you. Are there any other questions? I will read the change and then entertain questions. Whereas an introductory local law entitled Increase in Fines for Vehicle and Traffic Code Violations was introduced before the Board of Trustees of the Village of Highland Falls on July 15th. What's that? Yes, it is. Being enacted. Yes? Thank you. Being enacted by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Highland Falls, County of Orange, State of New York, as follows. Section 1, Section 108-48, titled Penalties and Offenses of Chapter 108, titled Vehicles and Traffic of the Code of the Village of Highland Falls, is amended as follows. Section A is amended to read as follows. Unless a different penalty is expressly required by the state vehicle and traffic law, any person violating any of the provisions of this chapter shall be punished upon conviction by a maximum fine of $750 or by a term of imprisonment not more than 15 days, or both, for each violation. This initial paragraph of subsection B is amended to read as follows. Any person violating any of the following parking provisions shall be punished upon conviction by a fine in the amount of not less than the amount set forth below. Subsection B is further amended by increasing the fine from violation of the limited time parking, metered parking, regulation to $25. Section 2, this local law should take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. Discussion. Any discussion on that? Any questions? No.
Question?
Yes,
Are
please.
we still good on Mondays for senior citizens?
Always.
All right, thank you.
Are we voting on this, Gina, or moving on to the next section? We're going to vote on that?
Close your hearing.
Okay. And that's being closed the hearing now. No more questions? Okay, I need a motion to close the hearing. Charlie Murphy, second. Mr. Brown? All those in favor? Opposed? Closed. And we need to reopen the meeting.
No, just do your resolution.
We'll do the resolution. Whereas an introductory law entitled Increase in Fines and Vehicle and Traffic Code Violations was introduced before the Board of Trustees on the vehicle in the Village of Highland Falls on July 15, 2013, and upon notice duly published and posted, a hearing was held on August 5th, 2013 for the Board of Trustees, and whereas public discussion was heard at such hearing concerning the merits and environmental significance of said introductory local law, be it resolved that the adoption of the introductory local law entitled Increase in Fines for Vehicle and Traffic Code Violations is a Type 2 action under seeker. Be it further resolved that the introductory local law entitled Increase in Fines for Vehicle and Traffic Code Violations of the Village of Highland Falls be and hereby is adopted by the local law 01-2013 of the Village of Highland Falls on August 5th, 2013. Do I have a motion?
You do.
Charlie Murphy, do I have a second? Second. Bob Mellon. All those in favor?
Roll call.
Opposed?
Roll call.
Roll call.
Trustee DeSalvo.
Aye.
Trustee Mellon. Trustee Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Murphy.
Aye.
Mayor Flynn.
Aye. And now we will have a presentation. I'm going to take that off. You may not be able to hear me, but I'm okay with that. If I can invite Nicole Shea up. Nicole is from the new business that opened up on Main Street, the Eisenhower Educational Center, and she presented the village with a check for $1,000 and the library with a check for $500. Nicole and I had talked before about the check presentation, and we had talked about that $1,000 being given out to the charitable groups that are here in the village. And that's what Nicole is here today to do. But first, if you would, tell us a little bit about the Eisenhower Leadership Center.
Careful. Good evening, everybody. As I was just introduced, I'm Dr. Shea, and I'm here with the Eisenhower Leadership Center. A lot of you probably didn't notice that for a while because we didn't have a sign, but finally we're up on 297 Main Street. We are providing leadership classes, and we are not only gearing those classes towards executives, but also towards a younger audience. We would like to actually work with also the town board, village board, and also of the school board in the future. Right now our market is mostly China, but we're seeking to expand in the future to other markets and are trying to be a global company. We're also very happy to be in the center here, in the village of Highland Falls, because we are hoping through our presence to also revitalize the area. And that's what I have done. I'm trying to reach out to you, to become part of the community, to help And as Mayor Flynn just mentioned, we have given donations already, and we're trying to set up actually an annual fund to be part of the community. So thanks for having me. Thanks for having ELC. And we would love to have you stop by. ELC is also a gallery. So we have lots of artwork for you to look at. We're open every day from 8 to 4. And I hope to see many of you just stopping by and say hi. Thank you.
I believe it's a very exciting company, and they really are going to bring some new things to our village. One of the things they've brought automatically, as I stepped out of Village Hall twice this week, I was met with 4 to 5 members coming out of the ELC going into a local eatery, which I think is fantastic. They're in the middle, they're not getting into a bus and going across a mountain somewhere. They're getting right out of their office, and groups, not 2 or 3 people, 4, 5, 10 people are walking right into local eateries, and that was one of Nicole's and the ELC's goals, and I think that's fantastic. I don't have anybody here from the nursery school, do I? No. Okay. There are 4 groups that we are giving checks to tonight. The nursery school of the Highlands, they can't be here. We have we have a check from the ELC, which I will accept. Yes. We have a check here for the ambulance corps. Bill Stropel asked me not to do it until the 19th because he is on vacation, and he said he wanted to be here for that, so I will respect that. I will accept it, but I will present it to Bill on the 19th.
Thank you.
And now we do have the other 2 people here with us tonight. First, I would like to invite up Christine, representing the Hudson Valley Women's Association.
Accept the check.
Okay.
I just want to say, on
Into the mic.
behalf of, I hate microphones. On behalf of the Hudson Valley Women's Association and Friends, I want to thank you very much for your donation. Ann Molina has, I know she doesn't like to be spoken, but she's going to shoot me. You have started this association, Ann, and you have done so much with it. Well, everybody who's part of it has done so much with it. And with this donation, we can do so much more to help the Hudson Valley area. It's not just right here in town, it spreads out through the Hudson Valley area and has reached an awful lot of lives. And I thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm sorry, man, I had to.
And now I'd like to invite up Laura Milson from Vision. Can you speak to Vision? You can if you don't want.
On behalf of the Board of Vision, I'd like to thank you very much and welcome you to the community. Vision works to beautify the area. We have worked on Patriot Garden. We support the local farmers market and do a number of other activities throughout the community that help to beautify the area. This is my taking care of a 10-month-old attire, so I apologize for my appearance, but thank you very much and welcome to the community.
Thank you.
We're going to be bringing back the people from Vision and the people from the Hudson Valley Women's Group to tell you more about what they do, because these are 2 of the 4. Obviously, we know the ambulance corps does phenomenal work, and the nursery school does phenomenal work with our children. But these are 2 organizations that not many people are aware of what they actually do. Vision does an extremely large amount of work for this community, and the Hudson Valley Women's Group, as they said, not only works within this community, but throughout the Hudson Valley. And I say this not to just, one, thank Nicole for supporting these groups, but to put it out to the community, there is room. They have room. If you want to, you don't have to be a woman to join the Hudson Valley Women's, and you don't have to have vision to join Vision. Okay, so if you don't know how to get a hold of these groups, please see us in the village, and we'll let you know how you can join and be part of it. Thank you again. Very excited. Eisenhower Leadership Center, right in the middle of Highland Falls. We have one more presentation. At this time, I'd like to invite up John Dodson. At our last meeting, he gave a brief presentation about some exciting projects that we're looking to do in the village, and he's brought some guests with him today to meet the village, both here and at home. John.
Thank you. Tony Kushner and Michael Simmons are two attorneys from Washington. And for those of you who did not attend our last meeting, there was an effort underway to assist West Point, which has a problem with their wastewater treatment plant. It was built some time ago, before I was even here as a cadet, which is a long, long time ago. And the capacity has now been exceeded, basically. We have the new arrival, the prep school, etc. They need some help. And it's very hard to get any money out of the Army right now, number one. Number two, they were flooded. During that last storm, the water came right over the railroad track and got into the wastewater treatment plant. In other words, our storms are getting higher, the water levels caught up. So there's only so much land on them close to the river. You want a wastewater treatment plant low so you can gravity feed, obviously. That stuff flows downhill, as we all know. And in order to do that, they found that the village might be able to help. The village has a little extra capacity. Our plant was built in Jimmy Wyatt's time, about twice as large as we really had to have. And doing that gave us the ability to give them some help. Not as much as they really need, so there's a longer-term hope that we can build a full facility big enough for everybody, the town, the village, and West Point. Consolidation would be much more efficient. It would also allow the village and the town to charge an additional fee that would allow some benefit to flow to the village and actually lower our own cost in the process. So that's the hope. It was started some time ago with looking at it. We're trying to accelerate it, open it up to the public, and get full competition, which is the right way of doing it. So Tony Kushner and Michael Simmons, I did a study of sorts. I went through a number of different attorneys and asked for recommendations. There are only a certain number of Washington lawyers who specialize in this privatization business, where we have facilities that are next to military bases, and we can work with each other. There was a new authority established in January, which allows a host community next to a military base to, without going through a great deal of procurement, to reach out to the base and provide services, any kind of services with the DPW type of work, like Kevin does. That stuff is cheaper, better, faster, perhaps, if the local community can do it. So this is one of those services. Army hasn't worked out all the rules, but we think we will have it in place by January. We're trying to get ready so we can make a proposal. The guys who are experts on that, the two gentlemen I have with me, Tony and Michael, if you would please come up and just say hello. They work for the government, for the VA, and a number of different capacities. They've done this in many places across the country.
Thank you, John. Mr. Mayor, members of the board, citizens of Highland Falls and Highland, happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation. My colleague Michael and I are both retired from the federal service, worked in the Department of Veterans Affairs, worked in fact dealing with public-private developments and tried to put together structures which transactions which primarily were directed to benefit the government and to be good stewards of their property. And we believe we have some ideas and some thoughts which could be of benefit not only to West Point but to the citizens and residents here at Highland Falls. So it's exciting to be here. Wish you all good luck in the venture and glad to be a part of it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank them for coming. They made a trip from DC up here. We met for a few hours to talk possibilities, and very excited to share more information with the village as well as the town as we progress. I'd like to welcome everyone once again and open up the floor for public comments on agenda items only. Yes, it is on the agenda.
Yeah, so
Sure
it's
enough.
appropriate to stand up now?
Sure is. I wouldn't be for you because you have the walker, but you're more than welcome.
Okay, I didn't know, just give me a second. Okay. I'm up there, thank you. Okay.
You're up.
It's the stand. I explained to you a couple weeks ago, first of all, let me say thank you for moving the meeting because of the elevator. That was our primary, and the TV. So everybody said, well, the library, and I said, well, yeah, but then that cuts out everybody else in the town and the village. They can't see the television if they're counting, because I'm one of those people, I'm on the couch. Every Monday night, there's a board meeting somewhere, and we're sitting there watching it. He doesn't like it so much, but I do. But anyway, let me say thank you. And when I did ask you for the favor, or the accommodation, I wasn't counting on needing it myself, but anyway. I just, as a member of the seniors, the Highlanders, and there's a good group of us here tonight, and they're here to support the seniors, the Highlanders. We're curious as to what the status is of the grant money. Has it been approved? Where is it? When are we going to see it? And is it going to happen? Are we going to be able to get the KFC building with that money? And then where do we go from there? How will it work? And I think that at this point, that's all I have to say. Somebody else may have something else to say.
I'll entertain all questions and then we'll give you, rather than
Okay.
go round and round, any questions and then we'll answer all of them.
Thank
You're
you.
gonna have to get up and come to the mic. Don't even think you can sit there. Mr. Weissman.
Come on, brother, I'll share the walker with you.
Well, I'll start by saying to a former student, better yet, I go back for like baby status. And I won't go into the other part of the story. My concern is, a lot of talk's going about in terms of the senior citizen center. And one thing is that I hear some of the board members talk, I hear other conversations about affording the cost of that building. My question is, do we have any idea of any projected cost and what they would be? Now, I can help on one thing. I'm treasurer for the American Legion. We run a building bigger than the KFC. I have to spend all the money for utilities and insurance and so forth. It comes out to a little over $5,000 a year. That's the main. I don't know what other things you'd be concerned about not affording, but there's some idea of a projection of what that cost would be. And I read the paper, I do read it. And I was very enlightened to hear that the Pope has referred to the seniors as a treasure.
Second.
Amen.
If anybody else has a question of me about what to anticipate the cost being, I wish our spokesman was here, Joan. She was about the other things that might concern you people that you might have to have money for. And she could fill some gaps in about how we can do things. And one thing I can say right now, if we got a senior citizen building, if we're gonna put on a dinner, not like the spaghetti that all the other ones do. We do with all home cooking. Boy, I tell you, we'll see the best thing of the world. Thank you.
Yes, of course you can.
Yeah, I think you can. See, now my memory's not so well, so I would have little ideas in here and things I would like to express to you with all the respect. It's amazing. It's incredible and unfair. The situation toward the senior citizen of this place. I'm one of them who has heard so much about the monies here we have the money, no, it's not here. Oh, it's not gonna be for the senior citizen. Oh, the house, no, it's gonna be for the Boy Scouts, it's gonna be for I don't know whom, I don't know what, and blah, blah, blah. And you know what? It's unfair. Somebody has to put the thing straight. Enough of that blah, 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 because the senior citizen deserve justice and respect, that's all. And I even suggested to them, well, sometimes we talk and talk and talk, and everybody has a reason, and when are we gonna see something? We're people who are over the mountain. You want us to be under the mountain, so we can't see it anymore when the things will be there? I mean, that's unfair. And somebody has to tell the truth, so we know where we're standing, how we're standing, where we are going. I even made a suggestion. I said, you know, guys, maybe I'm an American citizen now, but when I was in a different place in Venezuela, every time we had a problem like that, I always called the third power. We know who's the third power. The press, the radio, and the TV. If we don't make something, talk and see the situation that we have here, who's gonna hear us? Everybody promising, everybody saying it's up and down, and we don't know where we're standing. So I think a little bit of respect and love for the senior citizen. That's all I think.
I have just a couple of... Pull it down a bit? I keep shrinking. Just one thing that I would like to bring up. I'd like to know exactly, I keep hearing about the paperwork that has to go back to the Orange County Community Development. And that it has to be signed and sent back to them before they will send the money. I understand you have the paperwork.
No. What I'll do is, I didn't know I was gonna do this much, so let me, before we get too deep, what I'll do is I'll answer a couple of your questions, and I have some emails. I just don't want to leave you standing forever. No, we don't have the paperwork. The paperwork is done, as far as we're concerned at this point. Money's already been earmarked. It's done. When the money comes in to the county, they are ready to give it to us. Okay? That is where it's at. The problem is, and I have an email here from David Gubitz, our lawyer. As you know, the village cannot close on the Knights of Columbus building until they actually receive the $200,000 from the county. The county has not been able to tell us when it will have the funds to deliver to the village. This is beyond the control of the village, but the county is working on getting this done. This was today. And I've been in contact with them, and our office has been in contact with them sometimes 2 to 3 times a day, whether it's Gubitz, whether it's our engineer, whether it's the county, whether it's the federal. The problem is the county doesn't have the money yet. It has nothing to do with us. Well, here's the problem. I got one letter, and I was stopped by 2 people of the entire senior population. I got a letter from Betty, and I was stopped by 2 people in the street. Those are the only people that asked me what's going on. The problem is everyone's listening to too many people. My phone listed 3400 Village Hall. I'm there most mornings. If I'm not, Gene is there almost all the time. Someone can answer your question. People aren't asking the right people. That's the problem. People are trying to divert. People are trying to divide. I have never, from the beginning of this project, said anything but the information that was given to me from the county and the state and the federal. And as far as the comments of, well, it's for this person, for that person, for this person, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, I was the only one on the board that went on record to say in the paper, this building is only big enough for the senior citizens. It is not good for any other groups. One of my feelings about that is, when I go to we do meals, when I go to the meal center, I got 1 or 2 of you guys doing knitting. If you were at the senior center, and you put your knitting down at 4 o'clock, You expect that knitting to be there at 10 o'clock when you come back the next day.
Right.
You don't want a children's group in there at night wrecking the place. And it's not meant for that. Several of us have discussed that. We have 4 schools. Kids are in school during the day. They're not in the evening. They can use the schools. We have 2 vacant schools. They can use these buildings. They do not need to use the senior center. It should only be for seniors, and I have said that from day one, and have never said anything else. If someone tells you that I said something else, it's a lie. Fact. A lie. Moving on. Please, I don't want to keep you up, so you come with your questions.
Yeah.
But there's so many, I'm going to write them down.
Miss Ann Kuhn, who works for the Office of the Aging, her office is directly above the Community Development Office in Goshen. She went down and asked them on our behalf, because she was at our last meeting, and she asked them about the paperwork for this. And their response to her was, the paperwork has been sent to you, and that they are waiting for it. The money is there. The money is in Goshen, all right? Now, what needs to be done is a contract has to be signed. And it's my understanding that you have the contract. But a contract cannot be signed unless there's a motion from the board to allow you, as mayor, to sign it. And I would like to know if such a motion has been made, and if it hasn't been, can we do it now? Now, that comes from the Office of the Aging and the Office of Community Development. Now, you're telling us one thing, and they're telling us something else. Now, I'm not listening to one person, I'm listening to the lady from...
Do you know who the lady was from the community development?
I don't. I know what Ann Kuhn told me that they told her.
And here's the problem. I don't know who you talked to at community development. There's probably, definitely, I can guarantee you, it wasn't Joanne Fazzino, who is in charge of the grant. This is why I am imploring everyone in the village, not just the seniors, whatever the topic may be. We're there. Please call the village when you, don't wait a week, don't build up all this aggravation. Call us immediately. What's going on with the contract? For those that watched last board meeting, we gave a full report on TV of what's going on with the grant. That's the truth. Now, I'm not in no way calling Ann Kuhn a liar. We don't know who she talked to at community development. I talked to, Gina talked to, our office talked to Joanne Fazzino, who is in charge of the grant. She's the one. She's the one on all the emails that tells us the money is not here. Now, the problem is there is some confusion possibly over the wording. Let me clear it up. The county has okayed the $200,000. They have earmarked it for the senior center Knights of Columbus Hall. That's the communication we have. That's done. The county, as of today, we were hoping that something happened. Called them several times today. The county does not have the money from the federal. I would ask, and so that there wouldn't be miscommunication thrown throughout the community, if you don't believe me, I am okay with that. I will get you the number of Joanne Fazzino, who is in charge of the grant. Not somebody who works in the office, Joanne Fazzino. So again, please, when you have a question, call the village hall. Don't talk it up and how everything's wrong. Now to answer your second question, the contract. The contract is in the lawyer's hands, and he is working it out right now. I will tell you exactly where we are with the contract. There was problem with the wording. The county originally had the contract coming down at we need to hold on to the building for at least 5 years or pay back the money. Let's say we raised a ton of money, you guys had outgrown that facility, and we wanted to get you a bigger place in 3 years because Walt had so many dinners and he made so much money. If that's the case and we did not use the building for what the purpose was, we would have to give the money back. When, 5 years, no problem. We definitely won't have enough dinners in 5 years to raise that kind of money. Then they came back when the paperwork was semi-finalized and said, no, 10 years. Now our lawyers are like, whoa. Now it's an issue because now that could be $200,000 the village has to pay back. In 9 years, if something happens, so he went to the county, they went back and forth, why 10, why 5, why 10, why 5? The county says, we have the right to say 10, fine, 10. Write it up. Our lawyer is in the final stage to finalize the contract. We have not seen it yet. It's never gotten to the board. None of these board members have seen the contract. It is in the lawyer's hands, and it got to them about two and a half weeks ago. Okay? We have a couple other people here that can speak on this as well, but we have not gotten a contract. What I will tell you has happened was Gina, along with the clerks and myself, have spent no less than 2 to 3 phone calls every day to different people to ensure, and emails, to ensure that this is pushed forward from the get-go. We can't, for the entire village and the seniors, we are in no way slowing it down, but we're not going to sign something that's going to be hurtful to you. Again, let me reiterate, we have not seen the contract as of yet. It went from the Knights of Columbus's lawyer to our lawyer. He's working out all the details. He tells me we will get it shortly. We do not have it yet. Again, with the people that are trying to stir up the populace against the board, I don't know why, and that's something I couldn't figure out. Why would we want to slow the process up? I like you guys, as the board does. We want, you guys deserve a place. You're over 20 years due. You're over 40 years due. You deserve a place. We have an opportunity. Let's get it done.
Yes, please.
Have I said from the beginning, one thing I will say, going to be an issue with money, as you mentioned, Mr. Weissman. It is going to be an issue. But did we stop the process? No. Did we say no? No. We're digging in, we'll find the money, and we'll get it done. You deserve a place. Have we also worked on an alternative? Let's say the money doesn't come. The government decided, no. Yes, we've already worked on an alternative for the seniors. And I will go to Mr. Weissman again, and the auxiliary, and the American Legion. Beautiful building, twice the size of the Knights of Columbus. And they already own it.
You can't.
It's okay.
You can't. It's
set up as a church.
We're working. I got you all. But we're working on this front, and we're already working on a possible solution if it doesn't happen. When we're looking past that, we're not just all eyes on one thing, tunnel vision. We're trying to make sure you get what you need. And I can't say it enough. Please, before you get your Irish up, your German up, and your Italian up, whatever else you got going out there, Mr. Weissman,
Hear me out.
please contact the village. Ask us a question, because you know what? If you have 8 questions, this could have been settled with a couple phone calls over a week ago. And you would have had the information, and at least maybe you wouldn't have gotten upset this whole week about coming here tonight. Well, then,
We like your
We wanted to hear it from the board, that's why we're here. We didn't want to hear it from you,
Right.
the board, that's why we're here.
Well, now it's in the hands of the lawyer.
Yeah.
well, we have 2 representatives, and look, if you have more questions, then please, if not, I have 2 other people that will speak to the issue.
Well, my concern is that you have a contract. I've lost my train of thought.
It's in the hands of the lawyer.
if you have the contract, and it says that they want 10 years, at the end of 10 years, if there is no longer a senior citizen program, or any seniors in town left because they all moved away, you can sell that building. There's nothing to stop the town from selling that. So the years, how many years is involved in that contract shouldn't make any difference.
It does.
Because the building, why does it?
Because if
You
we,
can always sell it.
let's say the roof collapses.
It's a new roof.
Let's say the roof collapses, let's say the wall collapses, not a new wall. Let's say the wall collapses. We have to think of all the options. We just can't run forward and do it. And again, we have not held this up one day. We're thinking of these things as the paperwork's being done. The reason why the lawyer decided he needs to know for sure what is the deal, is it 5 or 10? In 7 years, the wall collapses. The building is not viable. It's going to be $100,000 to fix. The seniors don't want it anymore. They walk away. The village says, we can't, there's nothing we can do with this building. What are we going to do? If in 7, 8 years that happens, we have to give the $200,000 back to the county. Okay? So that's why we have to be concerned about it. Is it going to hold us back from getting the building? No. We've already talked about it. We're moving forward.
All right.
But that was our lawyer's concern.
We have your word that you're gonna go forward with this? You're gonna, yeah,
Right.
don't wink at me like that.
Didn't wink yet. It's
No,
close
no.
though.
We have your word that you're gonna go forward with this, and you're gonna fight for that building for the senior citizens, and as soon as possible.
You have my word that I will fight for the senior citizen building and get it to you as soon as possible, without question. And I don't think it's even a question that you have the entire board behind you. We will do everything we can to make sure you have a building. We're excited. We're excited to the ribbon opening. We're excited because it's not just for you. You don't understand. To me anyway, I'm selfish. If we have a senior center in our village, that makes the village more equitable. We have more people that say, hey, it's a better village. They have a senior center. It's a better village. They have this. It's a better village. So a senior center takes up the village's equity up to here. I want that. So, but first I definitely want a place for Walt to cook. Secondly, it will, we see it as a thing that will also increase the value of the village to people that are looking to come here. Not just to seniors, to families, to say, it's a good community, they take care of the seniors. It's a good community, they have somewhere, I'm 60, they have a place I can go to, maybe I will move there. Maybe we'll stop losing our great seniors to the south and to other communities because they finally have somewhere to stay. There is so much knowledge, wealth of knowledge, great people, that we constantly are losing, and you know them, they're your friends. I don't want to lose them. They need to be here to help the community. Another selfish reason why I want it as soon as possible is, once you guys are organized in a spot, I expect you to be a lot more into fixing this village, because you know everything that's wrong. Right now, they don't have a real organization, but when you have your building, I expect you to be a lot more involved.
All right.
And thank you.
We have your word.
My word.
All right.
Pat,
Thank you very much.
just one word. When I was a single father, I had a cook.
Oh my God.
My dog wouldn't eat it.
Yes.
I think I learned
Oh,
how
wait.
to cook.
But yes, go ahead. Sorry. Come on up. Move that mic up, we've been talking.
As a senior, but not a member of this group, first I want to remind them, when you're talking about government programs, remember the old saying, I'm from the government and I'm here to help? They don't help that much. I work in a field where I'm basically, my entire department's money comes from the federal government. Everything in the past year has been cut 20%. I want to remind you all that 2,000 of our friends and neighbors have been cut by the sequester, 20% of their income.
we're fighting for $200,000 for a building, which I hope your club can come up with the money to pay for those things you mentioned. There are so many things going on with the federal government. And at a previous meeting, they mentioned what the money is there, but it's not ready to be let go. You have to remember that. Things trickle down. We got federal, we got state, we got county, we got local. Let's not attack people for something that starts higher up.
Thank you.
Real quick, I have before then we'll have, if they want to speak, they can, if they don't have to, but if they want to, they're more than welcome. I have also an email here from Joanne Pizzino, who is the one who's administering this grant for us. As per our this is to Gina because she does tons of calls on this on a regular. As per our conversation today, please be advised we've received the award letter from the U.S. Department of Housing Development announcing Orange County CBG. Based on the correspondence, we confirm again that the amount of the grant to the village will remain unchanged at $200,000 for the acquisition of the Knights of Columbus building. Unfortunately, I do not know when the funds will be available for disbursement to the village. HUD first must issue grant agreements to the county. I've sent an email to HUD, the York Field Office, to inquire if the time frame is known on when the grant agreements will be issued. I will let you know as soon as I have a response. They also gave us an addendum, which we will be voting on tonight. Also to let you know that we are moving forward. We have already had our engineer in the building to assess what are the immediate needs and the needs in the future of the structure itself. Not tables and chairs, but handicap accessibility, safety. Is the building safe to move into? And he gave us an email with a list of about 10 different things. It's not going to be inexpensive to fix, mainly handicap accessibility. The what? The ADA compliance, but also the heating and AC. AC obviously not existent. The actual, what am I thinking of? No,
The bath?
the walls. Insulation, good call. There is no insulation. And for that reason, the costs are going to be high on your heating and air. So that's another thing he brought in to say that's another cost. And it really needs to be done because it will cut down immensely on your heating and AC. I also have to show you that we're trying to move forward. We're actually looking right now for appraisers. Because before we can buy, just like a house, the building's got to be appraised. So we are already interviewing appraisers for a building we don't have money for. We're moving forward. We're doing everything we can, trying not to spend as many taxpayer dollars before we have the $200,000. We have spent taxpayer dollars already on talking to the lawyers, dealing with the engineers, looking for appraisers. We have already spent taxpayer dollars on a building we do not have the money on. Because we are confident that we will push forward with this. And we are hoping the federal government gives us the money. We have been in contact with them as well, and they gave us no response. The county is constantly has been talking to us. I do have the attorney for the Knights of Columbus is here. They are the seller. He also wanted to let you know that on both ends we are moving forward.
Good evening, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Konstantinos Fatsis. I'm representing the Knights of Columbus Building Association on this
Into the
transaction.
mic, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You can face that way, but just into the mic.
Here now present, we have Patrick Rose here, who's the president of the building, the Knights of Columbus Building Association. I've spoken repeatedly. I'm the one who drafted the contract, got the contract off to the village attorney. In return, the village attorney called me and told me of his concerns and advised me repeatedly that the monies are not here. And there was an assumption and there was a miscommunication on certain people's parts that the monies were put into the coffers of Orange County. They never were. I can represent to you here, as an attorney, as an officer of the court, the monies are not in Orange County. I can guarantee you that. The issue then further becomes, how long will it take? The Knights of Columbus, and really this community has to thank the president and the board of the Knights of Columbus, because they've taken a lot of this on their own. Their costs that they're funding, they're forwarding, advancing, costs that would normally be paid for by the municipality or the purchaser of a home, and they're funding those costs. This appraisal that we're talking about is going to be paid for by the building association, because they're trying to make sure this transaction moves forward. They've had other offers on the table. They're holding off as long as possible to allow this transaction to occur here within the community, so that everyone in Highland Falls and Fort Montgomery benefits from a senior center. Not just, for example, the cost of the appraisal, but the survey. The building association forwarded their survey, so the village wouldn't have to. The building association paid for the inspection and the lead, I believe the lead examination. All these items that are items that would normally be paid for by the village, understanding that the village is in a situation where economically, as we all know, anyone who's a village resident knows, our village is economically hurting. There is no extra money. So the building association has been very kind to forward these monies. At the same time, we have fear. I've spoken to the village attorney about this. The longer the furlough lasts, the longer this delay and these monies go absent on the federal level, the chances of this grant coming through to the county and then coming through to Highland Falls diminishes. So one of the concerns that we have as the building association and as their attorney is we can't enter into a contract that could hold this building up for the next 4, 5, 6, 7 months. And then before you know it, the building association, with their limited assets and funds, are left in a position of heating it during the winter, maintaining it, and any other maintenance issues and costs that will run parallel with that. So although the building association recognizes the need for the village, and there's offers out there that are more than the $200,000, they're willing to give back because the building association is made of town and village residents. So they're not really losing, but they have a fiduciary duty to the organization that they serve. They have to look out for the best interests of that organization, and the village is a close second, but they do have a priority. So what we're trying to work out here, this language of the 5 and the 10-year provision isn't an issue between myself as the attorney for the building association and the village attorney, but it's an issue that's really between the county and the village. That will be worked out. That is going to be worked out. If it's 10 years, it's 10 years. Ultimately, hopefully at one point, maybe that building can get transferred to the town and allow it to become truly a line A item on the town budget and allow not just the residents of the village of Highland Falls to pay for that, but the residents of the entire town of Highlands. It's the most equitable way to do things. It would be too late at this point to try to change that in the grant. So we'll leave it as it is. It stays with the village, and then hopefully, God willing, with the help of the town board and the help of the village board, that decision can be made, and it won't trigger the repayment of the monies, because it's another municipality. It's not, you have to pay it back because you sold it, or you got rid of it to a private, and it was a profit gain. So with that, please rest assured, we are doing everything. I understand, Ms. Taylor is on the phone religiously, emails. Really probably about 15 to 20% of what she does is probably being earmarked just for this issue. Mr. Flynn, the other board members, myself in regards to the building association, I have no incentive, and no one has any incentive to slow this transaction down. Most of you know Patrick Rose. He's right in the back. You know the Rose family, their involvement in the community. We are all here to get this center to the town, really. We say village, but it's really for the town. For Highland Falls, Fort Montgomery, one and alike, no different. One community, one people. There is no difference. So if anyone has any questions, I'm sure Pat will authorize me that even as the Knights of Columbus attorney, you have a question, my office is on the corner, you come talk to me, you ask me. If not, Mr. Flynn, and I'm sure every one of the board members here are more than prepared to take your calls, your emails, your questions. I'm sure you can't quite reach out to the village attorney directly, but you can reach him through the village board members. We'll get this done. We just need some patience. And, we have to look out for the association, we have to look out for the community. So if anyone has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Can we shake the federal government somehow?
Well, I would tell you,
Way.
what I would do is I
Make a
would
big
shake,
television, bring them down here, all the senior citizens
We'll never
speaking,
move
the mayor, everybody saying, we need it now, what's the matter?
I would shake the
Whoa, we
tree
gotta-
of our county legislators and our county executive, and if they get enough rattlings, I'm more than sure that at some point, someone's gonna get on the phone. Now, in the grand scheme of things, there's other people that are losing their jobs, and other people that are being furloughed. And we have a lot of people in this community that are suffering. So in the grand scheme of things, if you have our local congressmen and assemblymen and senators and state senators, federal senators, they have other issues. So we just have to be patient and plug along. And on the Knights of Columbus Building Association, we will withstand for as long as we can, but ultimately, we can't leave this 6, 7, 8 months and be faced with the November or December with no contract. The association does have a duty to its association, but we will. Nothing keeps you from making a phone call. Nothing keeps you from organizing the rest of the seniors to make those phone calls. And if they start getting 20, 30, 40, 50 phone calls a day, they might just get so annoyed that they'll make something happen. They'll call in a favor.
I know, it called Channel 2, 4 to come here.
We can't watch them on TV. But letters, phones, I can't see why it would hurt. So that would be a win.
If you won't help us, you're gonna fall down and die.
I agree with Mr. Fatsis. As tough as it is to have you here, as Mr. Fatsis just said, that's our job. We decided for this. So it is our responsibility to hear what you have to say and to move on it. So now that you have this information, and you know that the county is waiting for the federal to release the money, start with the federal, don't waste your time.
Right.
Start with our federal representatives, make the phone calls, do the letters, do the emails, and we're behind you. We want to see it happen as well. And then when we get the call that, hey, tell you guys to leave us alone, we'll be like, well, just get us the money that's already earmarked for us.
I
So-
want to ask you one question. How much does the county give the Episcopal Church for having when they go to KSC, they'll get paid too. They'll get so much money for delivering
Right,
Meals on Wheels.
Right, that has no bearing on us getting the $200,000.
No, I don't mean that, but would help pay for the cost
Offset
of the
costs.
building.
Correct.
That's what I know.
Right. Are there any other comments on the building? You had your hand up first, and I'm coming over to you second.
I just have a quick question. The original grant was for $250,000.
200.
No, it was 250. I have the paperwork here. And I have an email from the person that you've been quoting, Joanne Fazzino, who said that due to program budget cuts from the federal government, the request of $250,000 was reduced to $200,000. And I have all the minutes that
Okay.
you voted on
You're right.
and
You're right.
Mr. DeSalvo, you voted on. So I'm trying to understand, if the original grant was for $250,000 and the original sale price was $250,000, now you're saying the sale price is $200,000?
The Knights of Columbus has agreed, and they've lowered the price to 200,000. I mean,
Okay.
they're really,
They're willing to work with
they're
I-
stepping up to the
I
plate as much
understand
as
that, but
possible.
now you're talking about an appraisal. Was the appraisal when at least 3 of the current board members, when you went out to, when you gave the approval to go for this grant, when you went for $250,000, what was that based on?
Grant.
No, what was the, where did you get the $250,000 figure?
Well,
There should have been a property appraisal or,
No, man, first of all, I mean, I'm only the attorney for the Knights of Columbus, but that was the asking amount for the Knights of Columbus. If the Knights of Columbus wanted to ask 400,000, they could ask it. It doesn't mean they're gonna get it.
but my point, the point I'm trying to make is that if you had asked for $250,000 and the building wasn't worth $250,000,
I did not ask you $250,000, that was the previous mayor.
but you voted yes for it.
I voted to go for the grant, yes I did.
But what I'm trying to understand, everybody's put on hold right now, but I'm trying to understand.
Put on hold, not by us though.
Well, Joanne has a little bit of a difference what you're saying than what she's saying.
And that was today?
6 days ago. She said, "We are currently waiting for A, receipt of the county's CDBG grant agreement from the U.S. Department of HUD, and B, fully executed grant agreement and addendum between the Village of Highland Falls and the county."
And that is here. We're voting on that tonight. That's not the contract, it's an addendum.
Right. But the point that I was trying to make with the 250,000, this is what's got me confused after reading along and looking at all the minutes and the resolutions. If you're asking for $250,000 and an appraisal for a building doesn't come in at 250,000, if it only comes in at 200,000, why are you asking for 250,000?
Why was previous mayor?
But why wasn't all the appraisals and all of the things that you're talking about, the insulation in the building, everything that could be possibly wrong with the building and costing you money, why wasn't that all done before you applied for the 250,000?
It's just for the purchase price, ma'am. It's not for those, if I may, Mr. Finn?
Please.
It's just for the purchase price, the grant. What happens is, when I speak of an appraisal, that's an appraisal at this point on the contract between the Knights of Columbus and the village. It has nothing to do with the county level. That's a totally separate issue.
No, I understand what you're saying, but all the paperwork and the application that was done for the $250,000, where did that figure come from?
That was the listing price of the property.
It was the original grant amount.
Hold on, thank you.
Okay.
That's what you,
That was the maximum amount that could be applied for under that grant, was
Thank you.
$250,000.
Okay, so it had nothing to do with what the building cost was?
Correct.
No, because the building could have cost more. We were trying to get the maximum amount that you could apply for that grant, which is a 2-year grant in the county.
Right.
They came back and said, 250 you can't get, 200 is what we'll give you. I think the previous board and the previous mayor was hoping if it was at 250 and say a building was 200, we could have an additional 50 that we could have helped to put into the building to get it ready. That didn't happen.
Right, but
So it came back at
therein
200.
lies my big question. Now that 50,000 to do what you need to do isn't there, where are you going to get the additional funds for what you're talking about needs to be done for the building?
it's a great question, and that's a question I brought up since day one that we've been voting on this. And that's why people have been targeting me as saying, I don't want the building and I don't want the grant. That's why they're targeting me, because I'm saying the money to do these fixes aren't in the village's coffers. But we are still moving forward, and I don't know if I can say that the Knights like the cost of the appraisal will help us out with certain things as well. Not everything. They can't do everything, but they're way more than generous than they should be. That's one avenue. Another avenue is we're going out for more money. We're going out to I've already been in contact with 2 of our representatives for additional money, specifically not for couches, specifically for heating and AC and handicap accessibility. These are things that I've already been in contact with them. Is there anything you can get for us? 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. What can you do? That's what I'm involved with right now, because we don't. And that's one reason why I've been targeted as, he doesn't like us. Why does he? It's not that. I've always been for the building. I want to make sure we can pay for it. We have 200,000 and it costs 200,000. I hope it's clean, because that's going to cost $20. You know? We have no money budgeted for that in this year's budget, let alone the money it may cost. Does that mean we can't find it? No. We are going to work to do whatever we can to make the building viable. When we get the money, it may not be opened that week, because we may not have the money to legally open it, to make it handicap accessible. We're going to do whatever we can to get as much money as possible to make the building open as quickly as possible. But that doesn't mean when the money comes down, all the papers are signed, and we get the deed, village owns the building now the seniors can walk in. No. They need to walk into a safe building that they can actually enjoy. And I'm not talking about an extra coat of paint. We're talking about handicap accessibility and safety issues. They can paint later. Walt can work the paint. okay?
He's cooking it.
We are talking about just the basics. We have gotten a couple people that have come forward and said, I'll donate. All right, is everything gonna be covered right now? I don't think so. But we'll get there. And this is a project we need to work on. And this is a project that's worth working on. But you're right, and I said that from day one. Where's the money to fix it? And I was slapped down every time. I'm a bad person because I'm actually asking to make sure that we have money to cover our costs. Any other questions?
One quick-
Please.
Gina just said something, 2-year grant, what did she mean by that?
A community development grant, they come out every year. Because of the amount of money that the village went for, we can only apply, it covered 2013 and 14. So the village cannot apply for another CDBG grant until 2015. So this grant would cover a 2-year period.
Yeah, we can't ask for the grant from them
Normally,
for 2 years.
you can apply every year when they come out. It's usually around March timeframe that they come out. But because of this grant being the amount that it is a 2-year period. So the village cannot apply again. In 2015, they can again go to the CDBG perhaps and get a smaller grant to help in that building, for additional funding. But right now, we can't.
Do we lose at the end of 2 years?
No. It's
No, that
just
means
you
we
can't
can apply for
again.
another grant for 2 years.
That's the only thing.
Which, that's a beautiful thing, is that then we can apply for one if it's not for something else.
Yeah, okay, I just
It could
didn't
be for
quite
upgrades to the
understand
senior
what you
center.
meant.
It just
Right.
it restricts the municipality.
Well, just real quick, only because I just
Yeah,
thought
well,
of
about the
it.
village.
Go ahead.
As the village board, can you, and we can, I know, because we live here, can we petition the town board?
For what?
For what? For money, for help?
You already get money from the town, actually,
Would
is
you
my
entertain that as a
understanding.
village board?
You already, the one budget that I saw, I believe you get like $11,000. So you get a nice chunk of change from the town as is. Can you appeal for more? Of course you can. You deserve it. It's your money.
Well, I'm just asking, because I just.
No, I agree.
make sure
I
understand
agree.
how it
You can
works.
petition more, but here's the thing also. Just so everyone understands it, and I'm not gonna throw Bob under the bus. The town's budget is done. Now they're gonna work on next year's budget. And depending on what the costs are, I'm sure they're already planning on giving the seniors, the Highlanders, a certain amount of money. So it all depends on, again, what's available. So, that's why we're gonna get all our ducks in a row. Budget for the town is coming up. You'll have your list of needs, things that we can't find money for. Maybe there is money in the town. And together, I know that we're gonna work to get as much money as we can outside. Yeah, I agree. And just one thing on your thing about the addendum. We just got the addendum about 4 or 5 days ago, so we couldn't have passed it at our last meeting. And because there is no, if the money was there and we were ready to go, we would have called a special meeting on a Tuesday. Let's vote on it. But because there's 5 other balls in the air that are not ready to land, we did this at a regular meeting. We got the addendum today, actually, at 4:45. And Gina printed them out and made sure they were here so they could be passed tonight. Okay? Any other questions about the senior center? No? Oh, Bob!
Just one quick one.
Come on up.
He's
He is a senior.
He's a member.
I wouldn't have said he was a senior.
And I called him. And I apologize for you going on.
You have a situation where this is a village building, or going to be a village building, not created by you. All right?
Understand that.
Whatever the town can do under those circumstances, absolutely we will do. All right?
I think I would just like to
Come
hear,
come to the mic. They can't hear you.
I think I would just like to hear, I'm hearing that when the money, if the money, if we have the money to do alterations or repairs to that building, is it gonna be 5 years or 10 years? You look around this room, this is the general populace of your community. And I would think that you could give them a solid commitment regardless, that your village will see fit to make sure that that center happens for its constituents.
I did already, actually.
I
did say that. No, I was asked a specific question. No, I was asked a specific question and gave the answer back directly as they asked. And for those that don't understand, the answer was, I did commit. to the seniors. I will do everything in my power to make sure this building opens. For those that didn't catch it. Now, we have a full agenda. Joe, you guys can't leave, it's blocked. You seniors have to stay for the whole thing. Oh, wait, just wait. Is there any other comment on, let me just check with the people real quick. Any other comment on the agenda items? No?
Well, I'm just gonna ask you a question.
You're already up to the mic.
You know I'm here for what? If you'll allow me to speak when it comes up on the agenda,
Yes.
I'll sit down.
Done.
All right.
Does that go for more than Bob?
You didn't get up.
Yeah, no.
That's fine. Are there any other comments on agenda items? On agenda items? Okay, let's hear it. Sure.
Thank you. I believe we might be looking to talk about the same thing. I'm Faith Akelman, I'm here from the school board. And I wanted to come tonight, first before I say anything, I want to talk about the collaboration that I've seen between the school board, the village, and the town board on this issue. And I have to say, I'm very pleased to see how that collaboration has gone. It hasn't worked that way in the past. I'm really happy to see that it's working that way on this issue. The reason that I'm here is to provide my input and speak on behalf of the board, urging the board here, the village board, to pass the question of providing to the town 50,000 more gallons per day so that the Fort School can receive water. We're talking about the most vulnerable aged children for our school population, who it would be directly affecting. It's a town issue, it's a village issue. So I just urge you to consider that, and if you have any questions, if there's anything that we can continue to do to further this collaboration, I'd like to do that.
Thank you. Yes, sir. With the green tie. You're in.
Okay. Hi. Mayor Flynn, members of the board, John Sarcone. I represent the Samuel G. Fredman Trust. The Samuel G. Fredman Trust is a partner with the town of Highlands to bring water to Fort Montgomery.
Do you need to leave? Because if you don't, if you all want to talk about the water at one time, you can talk about that. If you want to talk now, you can, but we're going to do a whole water thing with Bob and June, probably in about 15 minutes. If not, if you have to go, you want to tomorrow. You gotta go.
Well, no, I don't have to go. I'd be happy to wait, but I also wanted to make sure that the people who are sitting here heard this from the trust, because they may all leave. But I'll still stay.
No, please.
All right, so what I wanted to say, Mayor, is I read the report from the engineer regarding the water capacity in the town. I know that there's a proposal for an increase of 50,000 gallons per day, which the report said that the village is adequate resource to provide without endangering its own water supply or any other concerns that were there. I know there were concerns about if the town did an entire build-out of the town, which was not going to happen unless they come up with $50 million. And so just for this one piece of extension to this water project number 2, and which includes the school, which includes the fire department, to have enough assurance that they asked for that extra 50. But I wanted to say that I hope that it does get approved tonight, because the trust, in partnership with the town, cannot go on and on and on waiting for an approval of that. And if we don't have that, I don't think the town is willing to go forward with that piece of the extension. So the trust is providing half the funds to build this piece of the project, which will include the school. We've worked very hard, and I have to say, I have to commend the village for all these years I've been involved in this. There's always been great cooperation between the village and the town with respect to this water and getting water to Fort Montgomery. So I urge the board to vote for that positively tonight, and I'll stay. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't want to jump back. I know we talked about it at length, but maybe we can have the village attorney clarify it for us as a board, because as of a July 10th letter that we got addressing the mayor and the rest of the board of trustees, I'm just going to read the first half of the paragraph, and you can feel free to read the rest. It says, as you know, the village has been awarded a community development block grant in the maximum amount of $200,000 from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, through a conduit agency of the Orange County Office of Community Development, OCD. Prior to awarding the grant, OCD determined that acquiring property for use as a senior citizen community center achieves a national objective. as required under federal regulations applicable to HUD grants. As a condition of the grant, OCD requires that the property continue to be used for the purpose that meets the national objective. That's the 10-year thing. So this letter is stating that, if I'm reading it correctly, that we've been awarded the $200,000 and we're waiting for that paperwork to get done with the village attorney and the county, correct?
That's what that's saying, but it's not addressed. We've been awarded the money by the county, they don't have the money. That's what these emails, the ones I read.
That's what I'm saying, then
These are
our
of
village
this
attorney needs
week.
to be straightened out, because.
No, they know.
Okay,
They know, that was at that step of the process,
okay.
where they were dealing with the 5 and 10-year process. Now, we have moved past that, the
Because
paperwork
if
is
you're reading
done.
this letter, it says you need to get through the contract and then we get the money.
Right,
if you're reading
right,
this-
which is why we've already moved forward on the contract, and the contract is being done at the same time. We're paying for a contract to be dealt with between the Knights of Columbus and the village
Right.
before the money comes to us.
No, I get
We're
that.
already paying that, so it's being done. So we're not waiting on the 200,000 to actually do the contract. We're actually moving forward on all fronts, so that when the 200,000's in, we can move forward and the paperwork can be processed. But that's regarding the 5 to 10 years, and that's regarding the addendum that we will be voting on tonight, that we got at 4:45, that Gina just pulled off the computer today. Any other comments on the senior center? No? Any other comments on the board agenda?
Is that addressing me on this?
You are on the agenda.
Hi, my name is Richard Zizi. This is an issue where is that I approached the board informally prior to now about extending the dead-end road on Squeezy Avenue. Now, last year, prior to buying this property, it was indicated to me in talking with the former mayor and various councilmen and John Hager that they're looking for someone to invest back in the town. And this is a piece of property where it's questionable if I want to. I mean, I'm Azizi, I have family here, I have relatives here, I love the community, though there's a lot of properties that are up for sale, abandoned, or being foreclosed on. So it's a difficult decision to sink that kind of money or investment into the property, into anything here. So with the understanding that I would have any help that can be possible by the village and the town, I proceeded to do so. And I had people take a look at the properties, and at this point in time, if I didn't buy that property, I can show you pictures, that property would have to be mowed down. There would be nothing left to it. I mean, the house was in such decay that the roof would have fell through. And right now, the property would be vacant, and you would have to pay for the demolition of the property. I mean, this is a picture of the kitchen. I mean, the water, all the pipes had busted. The roof in itself, I mean, the whole house was in really bad shape. And so I took it upon myself after looking at this and working with other associates of mine that, you know, in the course of doing so and knowing that the town and the village would be working with me, that I went ahead and I purchased the property, and now there's a new roof on it, and I've been following. You see the roof here, it's the roof's just falling off. The soffits and everything are just falling off of it. So right now, it'd be a vacant property. And no one would have done anything. Now, at this point in time, so I went ahead and I did this, and I started to work on this property, and I had talked to the former mayor and building department about extending 25 to, well, actually it's about 31 feet from the end of the existing dead-end road there. That is already in disarray. The end of the road, there's a path that goes down where you know, it was questionable where I was told, well, it was a goat path, a card path, it was a paper road. It's a paper road, but Lake Street was a lake. I mean, I live on Clytes Avenue. The Clytes Avenue, Clytes-Lambert subdivision was after this paper road. Manhattan was a paper road. Everything was a paper road, because when you do a subdivision, then the roads are dedicated to the town, and it's their responsibility to develop them. Well, at the end of this road is two temporary barricades. And I've heard of incidents where someone have had an accident by going down that dead-end road, it's dangerous. Well, if you look up on DOT, I have the documents here that say there should be a dead-end road sign and a no outlet sign. It's a W14-1 and a W14-2. That's required by DOT. And there is nothing there. So, I mean, it's dangerous in itself. And if you look at a Hagstrom map or a regular map, it shows the street going all the way through. And if you look at the tax map, I have a copy of it, it shows the street going all the way through. So it is a danger, so it needs to be addressed either way, no matter what's being done. I have pictures of the path going down, there's rock upcrops coming in this so-called sidewalk. And so work needs to be done there as it is. Nonetheless, that when I purchased this property, it says it has a driveway. It was in the title search, in the assessment department, and all the records shows it has a driveway. And everyone didn't think it had a driveway because it had overgrowth. I mean, there was huge trees in the ground and it was overgrown this high. So I had talked to the building, to Pat Patterson, who said, well, you know, it's towards the end of the year, it's not in the budget, it's not like it couldn't be done, and the mayor. Now, you're the new mayor, I had approached you prior to the budget meeting and given you a plot plan showing what needed to be done. And nothing was done by the time the budget meeting came. I came to the budget meeting, and that's where I addressed everyone of the board informally. And I gave them 2 plot plans with 2 different orientations of trying to get to my property. Now, I don't know about fire access, or I'm putting a lot of money into this and investing in the property. And right now, I was told, well, maybe we could sell you the road. I don't want to buy the road. I just want 30 feet by 15 feet wide of pavement to get to my driveway. You know, I invested a lot of money into this, and work has to be done in that area as it is. And, you know, I'm just a small homeowner. I mean, I'm not a village. You know, I don't have the kind of gas that just keep sinking into it, doing all this. And so at this point in time, I was told, I called the mayor, and the mayor said, well, while I was there at that meeting, at the budget meeting, in a week to 2 weeks, they would talk to the lawyer and talk to the engineer, and I'd get an answer back. Well, about 3 or more weeks later, I call up, and I find out the engineer had never gotten it. So then I wait 2.5 months later, I call up, and the mayor had told me, well, I thought several weeks ago that he had gotten back to me. Now, then it was 3 weeks, I ran into you in the street last week, and I still had never heard anything. And again, he said, either he'll call me or you'll call me. So today is the first time I talked to the engineer, and the engineer doesn't even know who I am. He doesn't know my name, he doesn't know, he said he met with Pat Patterson, and as far as buying the street, he says he talked to the town lawyer, the village lawyer, and said, no, we really don't want to buy the street. And I already said that I talked to my lawyer, and he works well with John McCarry, director of real property, and he's saying that you really don't want to go down that road, and the village really doesn't want to go down that road. Well, meaning not the road, the property.
We got sewer lateral that goes right down through there,
Yeah.
so we need retain that right of way to access that in fact if it needs repair. Selling it is not gonna happen.
Well, the mayor has said to me multiple times that it would be better if you bought the road.
All kinds of options kicking around because we didn't know the circumstances and you were made commitments by the last board and we all talked about different issues. We'll have to look into this further, but as far as I do know there's a sewer lateral through there. Kevin, are there any water mains through there at all?
No, it's a dead end main.
Okay, it's just a sewer that goes through there?
That, you would have to clear it out with this, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to be on this.
That needs to be retained right away to service that lateral. I don't know what the conditions were or why those blocks are there, but I got to think that they plowed snow up against there, and Mrs. Brown never drove, and that was just a dangerous spot to plow down because you wind up on Liberty Street. And I think that that's why all of that was an issue. What are you asking the board? You're asking us to move those barricades and do what exactly?
Give me
Well, you can't just come up there and pave it.
Well,
You're gonna have to redo the
Well,
whole.
I'm talking to the engineer, he said it's not a big issue, it's not a big problem. All the streets adjacent on both sides have a steeper slope than that area right there, as far as I want to go. So it's not an issue with engineering. He said that what Pat had told him was the town isn't interested in really doing this project, that it would be at the cost of the homeowner. And I was never led to believe that. It was gonna, that was where it was gonna go. I was gonna have to pave a municipality road to get to my driveway.
I know the house, I know the situation. We're gonna have to take another look at it, and we'll look at it. We kind of slipped through the cracks.
It's been 5 months, and I've
Well,
been
I haven't been
patient.
here for 5 months.
Wow.
So, the only thing I can say is that we'll look into it, and Rich, I'm waiting. Rich, I want to call you out, I'm sorry. I know. We'll call you back and we'll look into it, and your concerns with this accessing your driveway.
Right.
Safety is our biggest concern, and having retaining the right of way, so we'll look into that, and Rich will send you a call, and person, and that's another one.
I'd appreciate it, because I looked up what a guardrail, DOT requires as part of the guardrail, or access for fire apparatus. I mean, I built this whole house, I don't want, if fire starts, I don't even know how you can get to it.
Well,
That's,
I don't, how far, I'm trying to refresh my memory. I know Tony was across, you're only about, what, 20 foot behind those barricades?
right. No, my house starts right at the barricade.
Right.
Oh, well, just beyond it.
Yeah, but it drops off pretty good.
Well, by the time it gets to my driveway, that's where it really drops off.
Right.
But going just at the driveway is where it starts sloping down.
I think Pat's concerns were plowing.
Right.
Because once those barricades come out of there, you obviously can't throw the snow in front of your driveway. And you can't plow down the hill because they'll never get out of there, they'll wind up on Liberty.
Oh, I would.
His concern why he addressed you the way he did. It was proved response, but we're gonna have to look into it as a board and find out exactly what things are going on.
Yeah, well, I would anticipate, with my background in engineering, I would anticipate that you would build it up a little bit prior to let this slope down, which wouldn't take all that much, which wouldn't be a problem with them still plowing. So it wouldn't, it's not like building up the whole mountain, it's just that 30 feet.
From what I understand, that road is closed. You ever remember that road being open?
Yes, I do. Absolutely, we walked up down here. On Logan.
There's a walkway, but not the road.
The road, the whole thing was open. I don't know parts, but you can, there was building.
There was a house there.
I don't know.
You're going back to the 40s and the 50s now, I'm talking.
This house is from 1898.
Yeah.
Now you think about a project like that,
There was a
I
house
got a
in the
whole
80s that was actually.
can of worms.
Yeah, I know, because somebody said as far as 1960, there was a big closed, this is more.
That I can't, yeah. But I remember as a kid going up and down. That was a short.
You know, what we'll do is, we drop the ball, we'll look into it, and we'll try to help you out as best we can. I'm not guaranteeing anything, it may be some unsafe condition for village structures, and I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what we'll do, so well, they still.
Mark's the town engineer, I mean, village engineer, he said it's not a problem.
Talk
Yeah, I told him today. I asked him, he said, I don't know your name, I know the incident, you went down to a pack. I said, it was not an issue with even trying to sell the street or anything. I said, well, that's why I was, looking.
Probably keeping all kinds of things around this home.
But this is what I was informed, that it was an option, which I didn't want to box. And the other thing is, as far as, he said, it wouldn't be all that hard or expensive to just give a roadway, a driveway area part of the road, so I can access it. I don't want it as a driveway, I don't want to own the road, I don't want to maintain the road, but even with that, you can still plow to the end of that driveway, or that pavement to get to my driveway.
And remember, we talked about a right of way that could be constructed and repaired, sewer around it. So that's always got to remain in the back of your mind. Stating, right of way means you can't build any structures on it, period. Retaining wall to me is a structure, so.
Oh, I'm not looking for retaining wall, I think you should be able to put, various riprap or something on the end there to maintain, it isn't gonna be that high.
See, I don't know, I went by and I saw the box and I said, there's got to be a reason we're there, and then.
Just for safety.
I didn't look into it.
Because it's just like, I put a lot of money and time into this, and you want you know, even the mayor in the beginning, you know, in your platform was you wanted to invest in the community and try to, you know, bring more business, residential or commercial, back to, you know, Highland Falls, which, you know, talking cheap for me, I'm doing, you know, I am. Oil taxes are paid. I mean, this house that I'm showing you, the prior assessment is for $153,000. The house isn't worth $53,000. Now, I'm paying taxes on all of it, you know, and so, you know, I think I have a fair, it's fair enough that I'm asking just to get to my driveway.
And Rich, you are being fair, but one of the issues is the road wasn't there when you went to purchase the property, and you didn't come to us before the purchase to say, would you pave it? You went ahead and bought the property and started fixing it up, and then came to us. And then again, about other items, it's about having the money budgeted, it's about having the item here. Whether we can do it today, or we can do it at the end of the season, or when we can do it for what we have existing, we'll do. But what really should have happened was, when you looked at it and you saw your driveway was beyond the road, you should have come to us first and said, I'm going to invest in this.
Prior, informally, I did last year prior to buying the building. I did say, I did indicate, and there was a question on whether it was a road or a driveway or not a driveway, which I had approved. That was a whole issue all by itself.
And the board indicated that they would work on the driveway.
I didn't go formally in front of the board. I went informally to the building inspector and to Joe, the prior mayor. And everyone indicated that they would help me with this. And I said, you know, access to my driveway is really important in purchasing this building. Now, paying taxes is part of the assessment that I have a driveway, and I can't get to it. Pardon me? 445, 446, myself, 541. Because, you know, I don't want to give the wrong intention for other people that are going to be investing. You know, it's just, I believe in this community, and I believe that we should bring more back to it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be investing all this time and money. You know, and I love the community. There are other people that aren't living here, as you were saying, with the senior center, the things of that sort, and now this new healthcare center. There are things that are happening. I mean, like anything in this economy, I mean, it's a risk, you know, and I put a big risk out myself. So I'd appreciate your attention. Thank you.
Any other comments, public comment on the agenda items? Moving into liaison and department head reports. Building inspector.
Everybody got a report from Mr. Hager, code enforcement for the town of Highlands. Main object of the report that we got was in regards to 84 Mertz Avenue. This was advisory notice for multifamily premises on 84 Mertz Avenue. And I believe in the back, he wants us to make a decision, given the conditions that we all have in front of us, that the department requires a decision from the village board of trustees and the mayor as to whether the building should be officially declared unsafe and even ordered to repair or remove the building according to chapter 7-5.
We'll move that in new business. Water?
I can say that we won't have a drought this year. And you might notice sometime that your water has been discolorated. Discoloration in the water. And I won't go into that myself. I will let the chief water plant operator explain that to you, the reason that you've seen the discoloration in your water. Kevin, if you don't mind, please.
I gave that to the mayor.
I have that. We'll do that.
Read off the press release, Harold. You have a copy of the press release.
But I didn't want to go into that because he probably could explain it better and they can understand it better.
If he wants to read it first, I can answer any questions in the audience if anybody has any concerns about it.
Get away from that. Complaints of dirty water and water system. Certain areas of the village have experienced dirty water at various times. This is due to the million-gallon water storage tank, which has been out of service for repairs and painting. This reduces the flow of water to our main 16-inch line supplying the system, and smaller lines are supplying the system, which increases the velocity of the water and stirring up any sediment in such lines. Letting the water run for a few minutes should clear any color in the water. Call the water plant at the telephone 845-446-3252 if the problem continues. The water tank should be back in service by the end of August. The water is considered safe but not advisable to drink while it is discolored. Chief Water Plant Operator Kevin Hurst. Will you explain that discoloration?
What it is? What it is, the village invested a lot of money to have our tanks upgraded, painted, and preventative measures put in. We're down one tank right now. It's in the process of being filled and disinfected at this time. We have two mains that leave the tanks that feed the whole village. We only have one main feeding right now. We do apologize for the inconvenience and the discoloration of the water. It's due to the high usage right now with only one main feeding it, which creates a velocity in the water, which stirs the sedimentation up. If you let the water run for a little bit, it will clear itself up. I can't flush the system right now until I have the million-gallon tank in, due to a safety factor of fire protection. Your safety comes first, so does the fire protection. Once the tank is back in service, and then probably in the next 2 weeks, we are going to flush the whole system within the town and village. It will be in the paper and on cable 8. Anybody has any questions or concerns about it? Our number is at the water plant. It's at nighttime. Feel free to call our police dispatcher at 446-4911. They'll get a hold of us. We're always on call to answer any questions or problems you guys may have. Does anybody have any questions I can answer, concerns or safety issues? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kevin.
Fire?
Fire is, well, one thing to report that's of a really happy nature, Chief Rush has been the maestro behind the creation of the fire department's carnival at Pickens Field. It will be held this year from August 21st through August 23rd. Last year, 24th? Uh-oh.
Saturday.
Okay, one more day. Last year was its inauguration, and it was a tremendous success. I would recommend every family in town visit it because it's got a really wholesome atmosphere, great rides, terrific food, and we're hoping for good weather again this year, so it'll be another success. Another big bit of news that hopefully everyone is beginning to be aware of is that the Orange County Volunteer Firefighters annual parade and convention is going to be in Highland Falls. The parade itself is September 28th. Virtually every fire company in the county will be descending upon us, and hopefully it will also be an opportunity for us to put our best foot forward, because a lot of people geographically just don't get over to our side of the county. So we'll be introducing ourselves as a community to many other municipalities to visit. Chief Rush, do you have anything to add? Thanks.
Sewer?
I don't have a report from you, but I did stop down and think that what project was going ahead. They've got a little sand place and clean out, the way the engineer come down and mark out the 4-bit holes for the roof to vent it out. The other one, I'm assuming, I know the equipment's been approved, so I'm assuming it's open order for some special made stuff that it needs to be paid for, and they don't have it on shelf, so it's stainless steel enclosures and stuff with caustic chemicals out of the plant. I'm assuming as soon as I can go and start that. Other than that, I think that's about it. I don't have, I think that comes out next week. We don't have a copy of it to see what I can get on. Then it's not here, then that's it.
Any other reports? Mayor's report. We have a Facebook site. There's a village Facebook site. I'll make sure Mary Jane has the information and the site name so that you can visit. This will be an information site only, not a comment site. I have been given permission to give out a comment site that's already existing, and that is neighbors, concerned neighbors for Highland Falls. Google, when you go into Facebook, go into that. Neighbors, concerned citizens for Highland Falls. That's been in existence for about a year or so. I didn't want to have 20 Facebook sites up, but I also didn't want to have a village Facebook site where everybody's going back and forth. This Facebook site is going to be informational only, so that you will have at your fingertips events, and all events that are coming throughout the village, and any other issues pertaining to the village. We are also looking to make some additions to our village website. We want more pictures for the gallery from groups. We'd like to see some of you beautiful people. So take some pictures, you can email them to the Facebook site, and then we will take them off of there and put them on the website. We are looking for any and all groups that are in existence: Rotary Vision, Seniors, Garden, any groups, any events. We want people to, when they go to the Village of Highland Falls website, we want them to see the activities that are occurring here in the village. Okay? So that information, I'll make sure Mary Jane has that. I don't have the exact, I don't want to give you the wrong wording, but it was created today. I'll make sure Mary Jane has that for the following page. Buffalo Soldiers Program. Sergeant Matthews' daughter, for those who know Sergeant Matthews, Sergeant Matthews' daughter is located in Texas, and she is working on a fantastic project right now with the university that she's with down there, as well as several other groups, to come up here and get a monument honoring the Buffalo Soldiers. She wants to work with not only West Point, but the village, because if West Point can't find a spot, she wants to know if the village will honor the Buffalo Soldiers. We already dedicated a park in honor of a Buffalo Soldier, and they're looking for that area to also have some more significance for the Buffalo Soldiers. She is coming up with a group. They are funding everything, and they are finding more money to make upgrades and to do whatever to several areas of a much bigger project. I'm mentioning it tonight because if anyone in the community wants to be involved and has any ideas or whatnot for this Buffalo Soldiers program, Ms. Matthews would love for you to get involved. She wants to hear anyone's comments and remarks, and I think it's going to be a great project that she's putting forth. She's doing pretty much the majority of the work herself, along with the university that's backing her. There will be a community table at the Rod Bender's Car Club show every Wednesday at Bear Mountain. This is something that Craig Young and the Rod Benders started years ago. They tried to help for Senior Bash, to raise money. They offered a table to sell things at. And nobody came down, but Craig went ahead and bought a ton of stuff from the dollar store. And at the end of the night, they came up with $500 profit. This past Wednesday, they had over 4,500 people, over 2,000 cars, 700 motorcycles. So it is a great venue to raise money for groups. Craig has extended the hand out to anyone in the town that wants to come up and raise money. You don't necessarily have to do a table. Herman Wright, who runs the drum and bugle children's group, the kids played their drum through the group, and they raised several $100s in about 10 minutes. It's a great venue. It's another great thing that our community, that's our community. If our community offers that Cornwall doesn't, Haverstraw doesn't, Connecticut doesn't, and if you haven't checked it out, you really should at least once. It's run primarily by about 8 people from the town. Craig Young and his family and several others. So they do a fantastic job. But that is an offer to any group that wants to raise money. Mr. Weissman? I did have the pleasure this weekend to meet the mayor of Fujian province in China. They were visiting and they called and we met, we talked, and it was a great. I had a great time. But I just wanted to let you know that. So now we're in Fujian province. If we ever need, if everyone's in Fujian province, we have an in. You know, mayor. August 8th. August 8th is super signups, 4:30 to 6:30 at Ike. Super signups is when all the new people from West Point. It's an event at Ike where all the new people from West Point check out all the different opportunities, mainly at West Point, but also in the community. The village has a table. We got a table. We're going to have some information about what we offer in the village, but I would also like to throw out to all businesses. If you want to drop off some cards, some flyers, some pamphlets to the village before Thursday at 9 o'clock. Now we open at 9, so you got to get there at 9. But you can do it tomorrow, or you can do it tomorrow, the next day. Before Thursday, if you want to drop something off, I will make sure it gets on the table at Super Signups so that the West Point community knows what you do here. Okay. Bill Stropel. Bill Stropel is not here. But not only did he miss out on his check, but I definitely wanted to give a small report. He'll give a report when he comes next time. Community service, out of control. He is spending so much time making great things happen, picking up trash, cutting down grass, cleaning up. Fantastic program. I want to thank Mr. Fatsis and Bill for really pushing that program forward. But Bill has done an amazing job. And he needs to be noted. In the news, yes, good call. In the news, on the back page of our illustrious paper, Dr. Baker is on the back page giving a presentation on birds at the library. So many programs go on at the library that go unnoticed. I implore this community that is looking for something to do to check the board at the library, talk to our librarian. So many great events go on. It amazes me. They bring unique programming for our community. Dr. Baker is a local resident, and another reason for us to have pride in our community. There is a zombie run that will be held here in town. Holy Angels of the Hudson Valley is sponsoring a fun run. It's called the Zombie Run. For more information, you can check out the paper and get that info. I also have on here from the Highland Falls Fire Department, it's in the paper, Carnival, August 21st through the 24th. Check out the paper for more details. Also, school physicals are August 7th and the 14th. That's
Rotary Club.
go.
The Rotary Storm Run is scheduled for later this month, and I know it's a weekend, and I can't remember the exact date. I think 25th? The 25th. So put on your running shoes or walking shoes. I know Jay is preparing. It should be another great run and beautiful scenery as you run up Storm King Mountain and back down again.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, right.
Or walk.
And there will be more information on this. The Children's Angel Network is going to be hosting a Highland Falls Boardwalk. The Boardwalk is a cancer fundraiser. It's going to be a kickoff to Cancer Month. It's going to happen at the end of September. We are going to be inviting all boards throughout Orange and Rockland County, school, town, village, corporate, nonprofit, to represent their group. So anyone who wants to help with the organization of that event, you can call 446-2020. This will be available in the paper to get involved. We will also be showcasing any groups that are raising money for cancer throughout the month of August, so that more people are aware of whether it's a local group or someone else in the county, if they're doing a run, or they're selling shirts, or they're doing any kind of a fundraiser, we're inviting them as well to showcase what's going on, what the community is doing to help fight the disease.
I don't know if you know about it, but I work in the Rifle Pistol Range in West Point, right? And the coach told me this morning, he said, Tanya, we have to have everything perfect for next week. I don't know, he's going to tell me exactly the day. The president of Czechoslovakia is coming to visit West Point, and a lot of personalities are going to come here. So I would think I mentioned this because I always love to talk about our places that are restaurants. We have very good restaurants in this town, very good. You can't get, so when the personality comes here, and a lot of people come in, I always try to tell the people, please, open that day, if it's a Sunday, whatever, you know, to have more, so people can make more money here in the town.
President of Czechoslovakia?
Yeah. It has another name.
You gonna get us an in there too?
I'm working on it.
Yeah. But anyhow, I can tell you the day tomorrow.
Excellent. Yeah, I would love it. And again, that's another great opportunity, and that's exactly why we need to communicate more, because I had no clue. And we are actually in excellent communication with several people on West Point that deal with those things, and yet maybe that wasn't on their agenda to do. But that's a great point. We can have the Czechoslovakian, or whatever flag it is, raising to welcome them, because that's what we do. We welcome people in, and maybe they will stop in and enjoy the village. Thank you.
I'll call you from work tomorrow.
We are working on, I just talked to Gina today and she laughed at me. We are working on something to give the dignitaries that do visit us. So if anyone has any suggestions on that, please call down to the village office. Whether it's a little packet, something, a little plaque. Again, so they can remember Highland Falls. That's a beautiful thing. Moving on. Old business. Nothing. Before new business, our next meeting will be a workshop meeting. Our treasurer, Emma Grady, will have a full report for the board. And we will be having a presentation from a group that is possibly providing us a new insurance program. So we're going to be dealing with at the next board meeting.
Is it Marshall and Sterling?
Yes.
Great.
New business. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting, July 15, 2013.
Motion to approve with one correction.
With that correction.
The Pickens Field Carnival, August 21st, the minutes say August 23rd, it should be the 24th.
Can we make that correction?